It's Dudes Who Bet Sports. Dudes Who Bet Sports. It's your favorite show. Dudes Who Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Dudes Who Bet Sports. Time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full of shit.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dudes Who Bet Sports show. Papa Dude, we're going one state to the north today. We are going to cover the Iowa Festival of Racing. I know you're excited about it. I'm excited about it as well. Are you ready to do this?
Oh, yeah. This is one of my favorite tracks. I haven't got to go up there in a while. Love going up to Des Moines. Very nice city. Prairie Meadows, great track. The atmosphere, I mean, it's really a cool place. There's not a lot of people there, but there's enough to make it fun. And yeah, I love going up there. It's a kind of an underrated track.
Yeah, I know. It definitely is for sure. We've been up there a lot. We've had a lot of fun up there before. Obviously, my horse is up there as well. So going to see him, not run, but go see him in the barns today. And yeah, I mean, Nick's go. He won this Cornhusker just not too long ago, a couple of years ago, and went on to win the Breeders' Cup Classic. And that's Fort Larned is another horse that did that as well. Won the Cornhusker, went on to win the Breeders' Cup Classic. So it can happen. This has been a big race in the past. Up there, the Cornhusker, of course, the Iowa Derby always has a pretty good field as well. So I thought overall, before we get going, I thought this year it drew exceptionally well. I thought they did very good to put these fields together.
Oh, yeah, the Iowa Derby has 14 horses in it, which is a bunch. So yeah, they did draw well. Let's see, what's the Oaks? They got, the fields are good and strong, and a couple of tough ones to pick. I'll tell you, it's a really good 2 days of racing, and I wish I was going to be there.
Well, I will be there, so that's the good news. If you're going to Iowa this weekend by chance, I will be there. So find me, stop in and say hi. There won't be, like I said, Papa Dude says, there won't be that many people there. So you'll be able to find me easily if you're going. All right, let's get to it. Let's get right on to it. So what we're going to do, we're going to do 3 in-depth races. We're going to do the Cornhusker, the Iowa Derby, and Iowa Oaks in depth, and then we'll rapid fire the other 5 races of the festival. So we'll start off with the Cornhusker. That is the big one on the card here, the Cornhusker Handicap Grade 3 event. Obviously, here I'm going a mile and a $300,000 purse. Like I said, Nick's go, Fort Larned, 2 of the horses that have won the Breeders' Cup Classic did also win the Cornhusker. Field of 10 this year. Your favorite is Skippy Longstocking, the 5. All right, Papa Dude, let's talk. Who do you like here in the Cornhusker?
Well, I think they've drawn a very good field. I think they should be proud of what they drew for this. It is a $300,000 race for older horses, so that's a good purse. And I think the field is really strong. Local favorite in here, and of course the horse I'm sure you're going to see, and the one we're all pulling for around here because of the trainer connection, and Iowa bred, number 10, 8 Ain't Life Grand. He's going to be the local favorite in this one, and deservedly so. But there are some shooters in here that are going to be tough to deal with, beginning with number 5, Skippy Longstocking, who we've all heard of, who has been in big-time races. Hang on just a second.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay. Then in some big-time races, hard to bet against him, and we were talking on the 4th when you were over here. We felt good about 8 Life Grand till we saw the field. Yeah. And he's going to have to bring his best. If he does, I think he can win. So I've got Skippy Longstocking on top because of the races that he's been in. He's just raced in a bunch of really good races, and he's running pretty well right now. So I think he's going to be very tough to beat. I'm afraid of him. There's others in here too, though. Frosted Grace, it's a solid horse. Warrant, another hard knocker that's been in a bunch of big time races. This is a very good field, and the Cornhusker usually does draw pretty well. So, are you going to put 8 Life Grand on top?
Yeah, I did put Ain't Life Grand on top. You talk about Skippy Longstocking. I said in the preview of this that you can go watch at racingnews.com's YouTube page. I said, look, it depends on which Skippy Longstocking shows up, right? I mean, the one that won the Harlan's Holiday, probably the one that won the Challenger at Tampa, will win the race. I mean, I think he's a little bit more talented than Ain't Life Grand. I think you can get away from him. The one that ran in the Ben Ali, no. Not going to beat a few of these. Won't even hit the board. The one in the we saw in even the Pegasus World Cup, no, they're not going to win a race like this. So the one thing I liked about Skippy towards the end of last year until the Pennsylvania Derby, he really had started to become pretty consistent. We kind of knew what we were going to get out of him. Now it's like hit or miss. It's a really good race or a race where he struggles. So I didn't go with him on top. I ended up not going with Skippy on top. I might use him. Probably not. I'll probably just try to play around him a little bit here, try to get him beat. Is he the most likely winner? Yeah, probably. But to me, he's just too much hit or miss. So I'm not a big fan of Skippy Longstocking in this spot. I'm most worried about the number 3, Call Me Fast. I am terrified of this one. This is a horse that ran second to Rattle and Roll 2 straight races and only got beat a length and a quarter both times. I think he's awfully good. I see a lot of speed in here. I think this horse can kind of set off the pace and make a big run. That's what he's done the last 2 races. I'm pretty scared of him. I think he could be a problem in this spot here. What did you think of Call Me Fast?
Definitely. I forgot to mention him. Yeah, this horse is a definite threat. There's a bunch of them, and he is capable of just setting off the pace. Last 2 races have been great. You know, no embarrassment losing to Rattle and Roll. Yeah, he's going to be hard to beat. I'm a little concerned. You know, Ain't Life Grand. The thing, yeah, sometimes he sets a little maybe too far off the pace. Can he go chase these down? You know, that's a kind of a concern. We've all, you and I have seen this horse either live or on film afterwards. Every race, he's extremely impressive. He looks the part. You know, he's an Iowa bred, but this horse is really good. So we're all pulling for him. He won the Iowa Derby last year. He runs extremely well. He's 7 for 9 at this track. He owns this track. Kelly Von Himmel is a legend. The trainer is a legend in Iowa. He's never won the Cornhusker. It's all setting up for a very emotional type thing if he can get it. But we all know that horse racing doesn't care about emotions. And the other thing about Skippy Longstocking, if you've noticed, he's kind of on the every other race thing. He wins, he does bad in the next one. He wins, does bad in the next one. He wins, does bad in the next one. Well, this race is where he's supposed to win, if you believe that. Yeah. So I'm with you. I am pulling so hard for Ain't Life Grand. I love the horse. I think he's a beauty. But there are some quality horses he's going to have to beat. I mean, don't you think Warrant might bring a good race to this too?
I never can get Warrant right. Yes, is the answer to that for sure. But, he's kind of up and down, up and down. I never really know what he's going to do from one race to the next. So we'll see. Yes, for sure. 100%. He could bring a big one. It's Brad Cox coming into Prairie Meadows. He could run very well. As far as Ain't Life Grand, a few of the things that he really has going for them, he has beaten Open Company before.
Yes.
He did it at this track at the Iowa Derby last year, and he did it fairly easily there. He also won the Lake of Ouachita Stakes at Oaklawn Park on May 5th, and he beat Frosted Grace, a horse that's in this race, and he also beat Mr. Wireless, a horse that's very good as well in those types of spots. Came over here at Prairie Meadows last time out and absolutely killed in the Jim Rasmussen, which is a local prep for this one. Of course, much tougher company this time around. I think the 3, the 5, those are 2 horses to be a little bit worried about. I think Ain't Life Grand is better than the rest of the field other than those 2. And he may be better than all of them, but I think those are the 2 that really I question.
Right.
Like I said, I'm more nervous at Call Me Fast. I just think he looks really good, and he's been keeping very good company.
Right.
One thing about it, you kind of look at Ain't Life Grand, you look at his speed figures. He seems to be on the improve, man. He
Yep.
is the last 2 races, back-to-back 100 buyers. He got great time form numbers as well. They've got him right, and the stretch out now to 1 1/8, it's not going to hurt him one bit. I think he's in good shape coming into this one.
Right. And anytime you can win a stakes or a race at Oaklawn, you're legit.
Mm-hmm.
And he did, and he ran, and he won it fairly easy. I always think when I think of Iowa and this the draw that usually goes there, I think you're getting the B team of this class.
Most times.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You're not getting your A teamers here.
Yeah.
So if he was racing up against the best of the older horses, maybe not. But this is the B team, and the B team for a reason. They're not quite as good as the other. That's why I give him a very good chance to win this. I think he belongs in this category. We're going to find out.
Well, I think in a way he's kind of proven he belongs, based on that race at Oaklawn. I think he had an incredible last year, and the Iowa Derby was such a big win, but his other races that he won were Iowa bred events. So he did kind of have some question marks. He came back. He did not run very well in his first race, but they didn't quite have him ready to go. They thought they did, but they didn't. When he won that race at Oaklawn, that kind of, you're right. It was kind of like, okay, he is serious. We kind of knew he was. I mean, he went to the Travers, so he's serious, but it's like, you don't know how they're going to come back year after year and for that 4-year-old season. And he looked really good. And the one advantage he's got, he's really darn good at this track. Right?
Yes.
He's been fantastic. So he's at home.
He is.
Where these horses are coming in from other places, that doesn't always matter, but that's not just.
But you know what, Aaron, we've watched this over the years.
Mm-hmm.
The big time shippers don't run well up there as a rule. Yeah, I know Nick's Go won, but Nick's Go ain't these horses.
Yeah.
And a lot of times,
sorry. A lot of times, I was going to jump in real quick. A lot of times, it's like the secondary shippers, right?
Yes.
Like a Call Me Fast that win these
Absolutely.
races, and not the Skippy Longstockings.
Absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting at. We see this a lot, having followed this for several years now. Skippy Longstocking is, I guess, probably we could say the most well-known horse of this bunch.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the reason is because of his name. That kind of sticks with you when you hear that name. You don't forget it. Warrant, I would say, is probably next, in my mind anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of times those type of horses, like Skippy is 3-1, they don't run like they're 3-1 for some reason when they ship up here. So I think to take a shot to beat him is worth it. That's for sure.
Yep. Nope. I agree. And that's why, end of the day, maybe, play Skippy on the pick 5, but I don't know. I kind of just depends on how I make the other decisions, the other races. But I feel like he's the type that's going to win this by a couple, or he's going to be off the board. And I just don't trust him totally in here. Like I said, there's a lot of other speed. I think the 6, the 7, I think the 2 can go. The 1, I think, will be sent from the rail.
Mm-hmm.
If it gets hot, it kind of sets up for Ain't Life Grand. And
it
so
does.
I think, and Call Me Fast. So I think they're going to be finishing strongly there. You mentioned it. Iowa bred here with Ain't Life Grand already won the Iowa Derby. He's looking to win the Cornhusker as an Iowa bred as well. So pretty amazing story, like you said, if it happens. By the way, only 2 horses. Well, only 1 horse has ever won the Iowa Derby and the Cornhusker. Prayer for Relief, the old Zayat Stables horse, came up and won the Iowa Derby, and I think won the Cornhusker a couple of years after the Iowa Derby, not back-to-back years. So,
it doesn't happen. And there sure has never been an Iowa bred do it.
No. And I don't know for a fact that an Iowa bred has. I don't think an Iowa bred has won the Cornhusker overall. Yeah. And like I said, I think it was not back-to-back. So this would be the first ever to win it back-to-back years, Iowa Derby and the Cornhusker. By the way, RPM Thoroughbreds, Ray and Peggy Shattuck, Iowa people as well. They live right there in Iowa, and they've had Iowa breds for years with Kelly. So that just adds to the kind of the feel-good story of 8 Life Grand. And listen, no matter what happens, it's still a very good story because he already won the Iowa Derby. He's coming back for more here. So we'll see if he can do it. All right, you're going Skippy Longstocking. I'm going to go with 8 Life Grand. Let's go. Let's see. Where are we at here? Let's go one race later. Let's go race 9 on the card. I can't even fit this on the screen. 14 horses in this year's Iowa Derby. Like I said, it's going to be race 9 on Saturday. $250,000 purse, mile and a 16th. Field of 14. Papa Dude, where do you even start with this race?
I could just draw out of a hat for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This one is tough. Really tough. They usually have 7 or 8 in this. Usually, I don't ever recall them having more than 10.
I can't ever remember any race at Prairie Meadows drawing 14, to be completely honest.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But in the Iowa Derby, it's usually 8 or 9 that are in it, and to have 14, there's some of them I don't think belong in this, but they're there. I looked at 3. There's tons of speed in this one. Lots of speed. The 1, the 3, the 6, the 8, the 9, 11. I think they're all gonna go. And so the one I like the best, it's the favorite, is Iron Clover with Cox and Santana. It's been running pretty well. Won a stakes race at Oaklawn in April. Went to Lone Star in the Texas Derby and finished 3rd, but it was only by a half a length. He was right there to win that. 3 out of 5, probably the class of the field, I think. Stuck right there in the middle at 8. I don't think that's going to be a problem with him. He also can stalk the pace as well, but he likes to get out on that lead, and he can hold the lead when he gets out there most of the time. So I like him the best. I took a look at the 6, Bo Cruz. I think he's an interesting one to look at as well. Coming off a grade 3, pretty decent effort at Ellis, finishing 3rd in the Matt Win, losing to, a couple of pretty good horses, Disarm and Verifying, which are pretty solid horses. So I think he's a threat as well. And then I went all the way out to the 12 West Coast Cowboy, coming off a solid allowance race at Gulfstream. I've got him kind of thrown in there as well. It's kind of a long shot. I really didn't see anything else. Ray's Kane is in there. He was in the Derby. It's probably why he's 4-1. I don't see any reason, though, to give him a whole lot of thought. He has run in better races than this, but I don't. He could rise up, I guess, but I wouldn't spend a lot of money on him. So I'm going to go with the favorite, Iron Clover.
I think it's a good pick. I just can't quite get there with him on top. The race that really bothers me is down in the Texas Derby. He just
so he had a chance.
I thought he should have won that race, and he got beat by Hayes' Strike and Harlow Cap. I'm not high on either one of those horses.
No, that bothered me too.
He did run well in the Hot Springs at Oaklawn. Give him a lot of credit for that one. That was a good race. He went up to Gotham and tried his butt off. He just got caught up in that speed duel, and that happens sometimes. I just couldn't get there with him. I just couldn't. So,
well, this is a tough race. I mean, if you want to bet against a favorite, it'd be this one. He's not a solid favorite
for sure. You're right. With 14 horses, holy cow, does this look like a lot of speed? And not only it's 14 horses, but there are horses that can go legitimately early. The 1, the 3, I think will go out. The 8 will go out. 6, Bo Cruz going to go out. 9, I think, goes out to the front. That's a lot of speed in this race.
Yes.
And so that kind of has it in question for me as well. I'm looking for a closer, but the problem is then you start looking at the closers. Okay.
I know.
How did he do that? The 4-horse closer, but yuck. He hasn't been
very good.
Dennington. He's 12-1. It's a spot where you could see McPeak winning, but I can't do it. Race Kane.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But you look at a horse like Dennington. Okay, yeah, he's a closer, but what is he closed to? Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
He did win one race closing, and that was an allowance race at the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you call this closing? Finished 10th, 4th, 3rd, 5th? No.
Yeah.
So that's something you got to look at too, right?
Yeah, I do. I do for sure. So I didn't want to pick any of those horses. So
I know.
Like, okay, what speed horse can sit off the pace?
Right.
Right. And that's kind of where I ended up. Like, okay, what horse has speed, but doesn't have to have the lead? Who's not headstrong for the lead? Okay, Iron Clover, I think is definitely one for sure.
Yep.
I think the 12 West Coast Cowboy is another one. I don't think he needs
kind of what I was looking at on him. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he's probably best on the lead, but I don't think he needs it. So he was one that I was looking at as well. For me, the other angle then became, okay, who's drawn inside? Maybe they get the jump on everybody. I mean, one in Vermilion, but I don't know that I can trust that horse. I went round and round and round.
I know.
I ended up on the 6 Beau Cruz. I just feel like I watch his races. I feel like he's been on the lead because he's just fast, right? He doesn't seem to be that aggressive of a horse. You look at his fairgrounds race where he broke kind of poorly and he was off the pace. He came closing, right? So you could see there, okay, he passed horses. Then the next race, he's just faster than everybody else. Next race, same thing. Next race, same thing. I don't really think he needs a lead. I think he can sit off of it and pounce. I'm going to go Beau Cruz here because I think he can get the stalking position and maybe pounce at the right time and get it done. So now, that being said, we got to talk about the lone Iowa bred in this race, Big Luke. He's a horse that could come from out of it. Is he good enough? He's getting a big time test after facing Iowa breds for the last couple of races. So what were your thoughts on Big Luke?
Well, you just nailed him. Is he ready to step up against Open Company,
right,
and take the next step? He has been very impressive.
You don't count, Kelby. Go ahead. Sorry.
Do what?
I said he's the lone Iowa bred. Warren L is also an Iowa.
Oh, okay.
I was wrong. I don't count him. Come on.
But Prairie Meadows, I mean, he's been real good up there this year.
Yeah.
Won by 7 in a prep race, I guess, for this. He's just the type of the horse that's got to prove it to me first. But, Ain't Life Grand did it last year.
Yeah.
It's similar. It's similar. It's just this horse as good as Ain't Life Grand? We don't know yet. It's not a bad bet to throw him in there for sure.
I think he's got a chance because of the pace situation. And look, I think the big deal with him, I would love to have, and listen, Kelby's here listening, and his dad has told me he thinks Big Luke, and Kelby's told me as well, is going to be better going 2 turns. They thought, hey, if they're going to beat him, it might be the 6 furlong race because I think he's better going 2 turns. Well, he won by 7 3/4.
Yeah, they didn't beat him.
He is kind of a monster. He got a 90 buyer for that race. So
he's
that night, that night when he switches leads, it was over. I mean,
it was
dusted him. You would have loved this not to be his first stretch out. You'd love for this as a second race going long, so then you'd kind of have another data point on him. I don't think he's crazy. And Kelby mentioned Warren L, the other Iowa bred that I had forgotten about all the way in the 14 hole. Well, Warren L did win the Open Company Prairie Mile last time out. Big Luke beat Warren L the first race of the season up at Prairie Meadows. So, I mean, it definitely does show you this horse is pretty good. And a horse that he beat pretty easily did win the Open bred or the Open Stakes. There was a prep for this. So I think Big Luke makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Other than Iron Clover and Beau Cruz, maybe the one in Vermilion. The more I look at that horse, and pretty probably shouldn't be 10-1. Big Luke is as good as the rest of them, I think.
Yeah.
So if he gets everything going and he runs great and he is better at the 2 turns like they think he's going to be, he's worth a shot at 15-1. That's for sure.
Yeah. I don't think you should completely toss him. Because the way I look at it, a lot of these shippers, they've been in bigger races. They've kind of proven who they are, and they're not great, but they're not bad either, right?
No.
A lot of these other ones, like, I think Big Luke's better than. Like, if he finishes like 10th, I would be surprised. I think he finishes middle of the field at least.
Oh, at least.
I think he's going to run very good. Listen, Kelly, he's the nicest guy in the world, but he also is very quiet about his horses. And I talked to him before Big Luke ran last time out. And he's like, look, he's the best horse. He just has to go out there and do it. He doesn't say that very often. He usually will just say, hey, we're going to have to get lucky, or he's going to have to run well, whatever. He's like, hey, no, he's the best. So he's not going to say that on Saturday, but at the same time, he doesn't just enter him to enter him. So I think he's got a little bit of a shot. But all right, we can't talk about this all day. I'm going to go number 6, Bo Cruz on top. You're going number 8, Eyeing Clover, in one of the best as far as betting goes. Maybe it doesn't have like the studs in it, but as far as the best like betting goes, one of the best Iowa Derbies I can remember. So
it's a good one.
All right, let's go back one more. We're going to go in depth for one more race. It is the Iowa Oaks. This will be race 7 on the card on Saturday. It's a grade 3 event here for the fillies, going 1 1/16 miles, $225,000 the purse here. So definitely a nice purse. Shorter field. This is more what you're kind of used to for these races, a field of 7. And by the way, before we go on, you got to say hello to Mike Somich. He's on vacation in Hawaii, but he's watching DWBS Sports. So thank you Mike, for coming on, and we miss you. All right, go on. Who do you like in the Iowa Oaks?
Well, I struggled with this one. Did you?
I kind of like a little bit of a price.
Okay.
But I think it's a tricky race.
Yeah, me too. I settled on the 3, Crypto Mo. And I don't think there's anything great in here. The horse has been running fantastic at Prairie. And, coming off 2 wins, they won by 17 lengths. So I'm going to go out a 5-1 horse here. Kind of a local horse in Crypto Mo. There's a Kentucky bred. I kind of go a shot because I don't really like the favorites all that much. Mm-hmm. I looked at the 2, I looked at the 1, and I looked at the 7. I don't think I would bet that 2 at 5-2. I don't think it should be 5-2. It has won 2 straight. Let's see, where did he win at? He 2 straight, or she won at Gulfstream, won an allowance. So I'm going to go with Crypto Mo to get out and get them. Peacock Last, the 7 is kind of interesting also. So I'm really interested to see where you went.
Well, looks like everybody sold my thunder, and that's probably bad because it's not going to be the price we want. Michael likes the 7. Kevin B likes the 7. I like 7 Peacock Glass. I think this is an interesting horse here, stretching out a little bit further in distance. We talk about it, sometimes the shippers that aren't like those main ones, but kind of that second string, so to speak, for the shippers end up winning these races. I think Peacock Glass fits that bill quite well. Honestly, 6-1 on the morning line. I don't think this horse gonna be favored or anything like that.
No.
But we may be like 4-1. But I think the stretch out's really going to help this horse. I like the connections quite a bit. Santana coming in to ride this weekend and gets them out on this one. I just think the horse is going to show up with a better race than what we've seen out of her. And look, I look at this and it's like there's not a lot of speed. It's a short field. I think she could go out there and take this field gate to wire, or at least stalk maybe your horse, the 3, and take over. So I do like the number 7 Peacock Lass quite a bit in this spot. The favorite, the number 2 horse, Imanra, if I could say it right, Imanra. 2 straight wins coming at Gulfstream Park, coming up here for Staffy. well, the horse could probably come up here and run okay. I was going to take a shot with this
Yeah.
one. So I've got 3 non-favorites picked here. Give me number 7, Peacock Glass. Any other thoughts on this one?
I love the trainer. I've bet him some at Oaklawn, and he wins these kind of races sometimes. I think he's a really good trainer. He's got Santana. The reason I stayed off of him, even though he's running better, these are better races. He just hasn't won much, but he's ran in better stuff than some of these others have. You know, he's been in a couple of high allowances, one at Keeneland and one at Churchill. They ran in a $225,000 stakes at Churchill. That was on the turf. They got him back on the dirt. And he finished 3rd, 6th, and 3rd. That's not awful. It's not great, but those races are a lot better than what this is. So I think it's a solid choice.
Yeah, I think Rudy Brissett, the thing about him that you kind of got to realize is sometimes he'll have some horses that aren't the best because he kind of gets like the second team for some of those really good barns. So sometimes he'll get one that's a little bit of a project. It's like, I don't really know what he can do with them, but other times he will sneak in and get a really good one that they kind of maybe made a mistake with or this or that. So yeah, I like Rudy a lot as well. I think he's very solid. Like I said, probably going to be like 3-1, 4-1 because everybody seems to like this horse. But
well, they're going to see who the sire is also.
Yeah.
American favorite, so that'll mean something.
He will take money for sure after that. Yep. All right, let's go. We're going to rapid fire through the other 5 stakes that are going to be happening at Prairie Meadows this weekend. We wanted to go in depth for the 3 there, the 3 big ones, and then we'll rapid fire these other ones. So let's go now to the Prairie Gold Juvenile. This is going to be race 6 on Saturday. Field of 6 lines up here, $100,000 purse, going 5.5 furlongs. Like I said, for the 2-year-olds, Papa Dude, I tend to like one here a little bit, but I want to get your thoughts here. Who do you like?
For me, these are the hardest.
I know you hate these.
Yeah, I hate these. They haven't run much. They all are just alike for the most part. The favorite did not run well last time, but it was on turf, and that's number 4, Reaper. Broke his maiden, won by 5 at Gulfstream. Then they put the horse on turf in a stakes race, and that was a disaster. So they're coming back to dirt. They're shipping him up here for a reason. Torres is on him. It's hard for me to bet against Torres. He's really running extremely well. Let's see. There's another one here. No, they're all just alike. So I like that horse. That's probably the one I like the best. The 5 at 5-2. They're all the same. There's not much I can say any different about any of them. So I'll go ahead and stick with Reaper simply because he's got a little bit more experience than some of these other ones.
I went Reaper. And Michael, we see this card a lot alike, so we might have a good night or a bad night. We'll see. But I think Reaper is a logical single. If he gets back to the race he ran on April 21st, which was a dirt race, I don't think these horses are good enough to beat him. Now, he did go to the turf and he ran extremely poor. But you know what? I mean, that happens. Yeah. Maybe he's not a turf horse. Why they tried that was a win and you're in for the Royal Ascot meet. Okay. So they thought, hey, we'll give it a shot. It's ran at our home track. If he wins it, we're going to Ascot. Well, hell, that's great. I don't blame them. I don't think they, probably went into that thinking for sure he's a turf horse. If they would have thought that, they would have debuted him on the turf. So they took a shot there. It didn't work out. He comes back here on the dirt, shipping up to Iowa. I think he's awfully, awfully tough. If he gets back to that maiden win, I think he kind of rolls the rest of this field. The 5 does have a local win over the track, so that's good, but I don't think he matches up very well with the 4. So the 4 Reaper on top for me. It'll be a horse that maybe I single, maybe you go too deep, but I think end up singling. All right, let's go to Friday. So those were the 4 races on Saturday at Prairie Meadows. Going to be the big 4 stakes races, but it kicks off on Friday. So let's go to Friday here and go through the 4 races on Friday. We're going to rapid fire through these. We'll start with race 6. It's the Iowa Distaff going 1 mile and a 16th, $100,000 purse here. for the older fillies, or for the fillies and mares 3-year-old and upward. Short field. This is kind of what we're used to. What do you think about this one?
I thought it was a very good field, though. There's
It's
some
a
pretty
good
good horses
field,
in
but a
this.
short field.
Yeah. So you're not going to get some prices. That's the problem with short fields. I'm just going to, since we're rapid firing here, I'm just going to throw these out, and then you talk about them.
Okay.
I went with the 3, Coastal Charm, trained by Steve Hobby, who's always been one of my favorite trainers. This horse, in its 5 starts this year, has 3 wins, a 3rd and a 4th, and 4 of those races were at Oaklawn, where he won 3 times, and then Ellis in the other one. That's pretty good tracks. So I think this horse has got the class to win this. So I've got him on top, and then her, and then I've got Ice Orchid, one of my favorites, 2nd, and Butterbean. So I went 3, 1, 4.
Michael Austin, as you were talking, he said, "Ain't Life Grand knocked me out last year." Man, if you would have known us last year, maybe you get there. Hawks All Day says Butterbean. And yeah, he has a full sister to Butterbean, and KVH says as well. Yep. You look at Butterbean, kind of cool. Ain't Life Grand coming back to try to win the Cornhusker after winning the Iowa Derby. Butterbean won the Iowa Oaks, and she's coming back to win the Iowa Distaff. Obviously, kind of not the same, level of prestige, but still, that's cool. That's a cool story. She looks awfully tough in here. She faced Missy Into Mischief, another KVH horse, last time out. I thought Missy Into Mischief ran great, but Butterbean just kind of beat her pretty easily. I think she'll be really tough. I think Butterbean will be tough. I think it's the 2 logical horses, Butterbean or Ice Orchid. I think one of the 2 win that thing. You look at Ice Orchid, she's been close at times. She was not good last time out, though. It just kind of gave it away at 2-5. So we'll see. She's going to have to recover from that race. I'll go Butterbean on top, Ice Orchid 2nd. I got a little bit, not fancy, but it took some prices in the races. The first 3 we talked about. These last 2, they look pretty logical to me. So, all right, let's go to race 7, the Iowa Sprint Stakes. 6 furlongs here, $100,000 the purse for this one. Be like I said, race 7 on Friday. All right, Papa Dude, where are you going on this one?
All right, I went with the 7 on top, Strobe, and then the 6. How do you pronounce that? Albizu, I guess it is. And then I went with the 5. Our Last Chance, and Iowa bred, has been running pretty well. So I went 7-6-5.
7-6-5. Michael said he started watching in August of last year. Oh, 1 month late. Oh boy, that's all right. No big deal. Look, if the 7 loses, to me, this is extremely disappointing. and Dennis, I don't think Strobe is as good as what we thought. I really don't. However, this is not a tough field. You have to win if you're Strobe. If he loses this one, it's like, he kind of sucks. And let's remember when Nick's Go came here in 2021, everybody was like, yeah, maybe he's just not as good as we thought. He'd come off that race. I forget. Oh, the Met Mile. He'd come off that Met Mile, and it's like, yeah, maybe he's just not that good. He didn't run very well in the race before. And then he came here and he kind of rehabilitated himself.
He did.
To me, this is a much lesser degree, but Strobe, I mean, he has to come on here and win this race. He just has to. If he doesn't, he's no good. And I can honestly say that. Now, I will say the 6 is extremely interesting to me as well. Albizu. So both the 6 and the 7, the 7-2 races back, got beat by Skelly, who's one of the better 6 furlong horses in the country, by 2 1/4. Albizu got beat by Skelly by 1.5 lengths.
That's true.
I think it's down to these 2. I think the 6 is pretty darn good as well. I think the 7 should be able to handle him. Look out for the 6. I think that's a very interesting horse. Diodoro shipping in. I'm a little bit afraid to leave that 6 off a ticket. All right, let's move on to the next one here. Race 8 on the card. We're back to the 2-year-olds here. The Prairie Gold Lassie going 5.5 furlongs, $100,000 purse. So the same race as what we talked about on Saturday, only this one's for the fillies. Field of 8 here. I did not think this one was quite as, open and shut here. What about you? What do you think of this race?
By the way, back to you were talking about Knicks Go that year.
Yep.
And if you'll remember when Knicks Go showed up at Iowa, we were doing this very same thing. And we both said, or I did more than you, had they given up on Knicks Go by sending that horse up there. Remember that?
Yes. It seems to me, I think Ricky may have been with us for some reason.
I believe we were. I think we all three were doing that. Yeah.
It may have been on the old Rocket Hour we used to have. And a couple of us were like, I don't know. And I remember when he entered, I thought, oh, he'll never go up there.
Yes.
I'll scratch him for sure. And then he showed up and I said, oh, God, he's either something's the matter with him. And I remember, he won by the length of the stretch. I can't remember the exact margin, but I mean, he made them look foolish.
He did.
And I text the group and I said, he's going to win the Whitney and he's going to win the Breeders' Cup Classic. And they're like, I don't know. I was like, it's Iowa. I said, he's back. He's back. Because when he ran in the Met Mile, he looked like dog shit. Like even before he got passed, he was ahead. And I looked at Jared and I said, we are so screwed. He has no chance in this race. None.
Yep.
He looks awful. And when he broke the gate that night at Prairie Meadows, it's like, oh, he's back. And so, it ended up happening. But anyway, go on.
I remember watching that and you knew like 100 yards out of the gate, this race is over.
Oh, yeah.
You could just see it.
Yeah.
So you got to give Brad Cox a lot of credit for sending that horse up there, Yeah. And it got the horse going. And it's amazing how the light will come on sometimes in athletes and animals as well. And it just got that horse rolling. Anyway, this race, and I've got 4 of them here. You know where I'm going, and that's with the 6. I guess that stands for Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Texas Women for Arts.
Mm-hmm.
Was Asmussen, won by 5 lengths last time at Horseshoe, Indiana. Natural progressions to go here and see what they can do in this one. So I've got that horse on top. I also like the 7 Kiss. I like the 2 Crown Imperial. And you got to throw in the 5 Caleb's Lady, whose sire was Caleb's Posse.
Yep.
By the way, this horse I don't think should be 8-1. It has been running at Turf Paradise, so that's probably the reason. Brogus Maiden there by 5 lengths, and then it's actually been in a stakes race. It was a small one, but did run in a stakes race and finish second. So I think it's worth a shot at 5-1 to throw that one in there too. But I got Texas Women for Arts on top.
All right. By the way, Kevin B said he was 1-9 in the Cornhusker, right? Okay. To go what I was saying. No, by the way, he was 3-5. So it's like, well, that's crazy. How is Knicks go 3-5 against? Here was the field. Last Judgment, Rated R Superstar, Tenfold, Dinar, and Modernist. Those were the horses Knicks go lined up against that night.
Yeah.
And he was 3-5. That shows you when a horse runs a couple of bad races, how they jump off. Sure, you can say, well, he was still 3-5. He should have been 1 to 1,000,000 against that field. So this shows you the doubt people had with Knicks Go.
He was running terrible coming into that.
Yes. Yeah. He had finished 4th in the Saudi Cup and 4th in the Met Mile. And he dropped down. Like I said, he went 3-5. In comparison, and this is why sometimes still betting a favorite is not the worst thing, even at 3-5. For comparison, he was 6-5 in his next race, which was the Whitney.
Yeah.
Against Maxfield, who had won a bunch in a row. Silver State, who had a long winning streak. Swiss Skydiver, obviously Philly, and By My Standards. So would you rather take him at 6-5 against those horses or 3-5 against the Cornhusker? Field? So
it's amazing.
It shows you how crazy that can be, how crazy the sport can be.
Very good.
Yeah. Anyway, where are we talking? I like Kiss in this race, the 7.
Okay.
Running first time for Diodoro here. Broke the maiden last time out at Ellis Park. Kind of respect that maiden win a bit more than the Asmussen maiden at Indiana. But look, I think both of them are logical. It seems to me like we've got a lot of logical horses Friday and a pretty wide open group on Saturday. So
I agree.
That's where I'm at with him. Yeah, and Silver State beat him in the Met Mile fairly easily.
Yeah.
All right, one last one here. Race 9 on the card to round this thing out. It's going to be the Saylorville Stakes here. 6 furlongs, $100,000 purse for this one. Field of 12. So you might need to go short in some of these other races because this one is a little bit more wide open. Let's end this thing with the Saylorville. Papa Dude, who you like?
This one's really tough, I think. I went with the 9 on top, Fire on Time.
Okay.
Gary, you've got to throw that horse in there. Are you surprised he's 6-1?
I'm shocked. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no way that horse should be 6-1. It's ran in big time races.
Yeah.
If he brings what he's got, he should win, or she brings what she's got. She's the class. She should win. So I've got 9, 10. Gunning's another one I like. Has ran well in the past. I got 9, 10, 11. But I could be changed around on those 3.
I love the 10. I have Gary on top here. I think she's going to be pretty darn tough.
It's the one.
I don't get it. When you look at her, okay, yeah, bad race last time out. Well, that was on the turf. That doesn't even count.
No.
2 races back was in the Madison.
Grade 1.
Yeah, the races before that were similar to this at Oaklawn, she won. So
yes,
I think Brissett has her ready here and has her back into that form. I don't think they're going to beat her.
Not if she's right.
I don't think we're getting 6-1, but I don't think we're getting too bad of a price on her. I don't know.
Well, normally a horse that's 6-1, it's not going to get bet down any lower than 3-1 unless we have scratches, right?
Right, which we could in this one, but yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. I like Gunning, the 11 horse as well. You talked about that one.
Well, don't you think that horse might take some money too?
Should take a little bit of money here. Another one kind of getting back to where she probably belongs. And to that kind of statement, I think the 12 makes a lot of sense as well. Coming off that win at Lone Star, has won 4 out of 5 races. Me, 11, 12, 10. I don't think you can go wrong with any of those horses. I'm against the 9 only because it's Romans as a favorite.
Yeah,
I'll probably try to beat her, but 10, 11, 12. I like that horse. I like
those prices.
Yeah, I mean, to me, 10, 12 all day long. That's where I'm at. And yeah, Kevin B says Dale Romans at 3-1 is worse than McPeak favorites. I would agree. I'm not going to play him as a favorite.
Let's say Ugiri comes down to 3-1, 7-2, and Gunning probably will come down to what, 6-1,
probably
at the lowest.
Yeah.
The other one I think may stay right where it's at, may come down a little. That's a pretty good trifecta if you hit it.
Yeah. No, I think that's what I'm going to be playing. Going to try to get that one home. Also like the 3 just a little bit, but kind of feel like if you're playing the 11 and the 12, you've kind of got the 3 covered because the 11 and 12 have beat the 3 the last couple of races. So that's kind of why I didn't use the 3 in the top 4 there. So 10, 11, 12 for me.
Race.
It's a really good race. Yeah,
if Ugiri doesn't show up, it's a very difficult race. It becomes a difficult race.
Yeah. 7-2 is Kevin's target on the 10. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd probably be about right. And again, I don't know why. I guess they're looking at the last 2 races, why the horse is 6-1. But if you look at the 3 horses that beat him in the Madison, or beat her. Goodnight Olive, pretty good horse. Mary Quite Contrary, and Society's not too bad either. So, I mean, those were the top 3 in that race. That's a pretty good race.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Dennis wants to know about the 1, Blaze Away and Hide. I thought her race last time out was really good. It was Iowa bred stakes race. Kelly had a couple in there, the Mamie Eisenhower that, I think I've heard that they kind of like he had She Means Business, who they kind of thought would run pretty well there and didn't run bad. Got 4th. Miss Peach was in that race as well. She's not bad. But yeah, Blazeaway and Hyde just kind of rolled in that one. So tough next spot for her. I don't think she's absolutely impossible in here. I'm not going to use her. I'm not telling people to use her, but I've seen worse 20-1 shots. What did you look at the one at all?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I think she got a shot.
Yeah.
This, if Gary doesn't show up, that we could have an upset, a big timer. We could.
Yeah. None of these horses are like world beaters. That's for sure.
No.
All right. That's it. That's the 8 races there for the festival. Good timing. We hit the time about how I wanted there. So
all right.
Good job to you. Shout out. All right. Any final thoughts on the Iowa Festival of Racing as a whole before we move on?
No, it's just one of my favorite 2 nights of the year. I always like to watch.
It is a lot of fun. Last year may have been the most fun when he was able to win that
we know Kelly so well.
Yeah.
And so that, he's always got some horses in those races, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been fun over the years to see him try to win some of those open company races. I remember my woman from Tokyo. Good.
Oh, yeah.
She almost won. 1 year and just, she didn't run very well or she would have won. So it's crazy. Yeah, I agree. Dennis says it's a shame the Indiana Derby and Iowa Racing Festival on the same week. I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana Derby features Verifying. That's the big horse coming in from that. Should win.
The Iowa Derby used to be the week before this.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why they pushed it back. Well, the season's been pushed back a little bit. It used to start in April. The Prairie Meadows did. And it was the last week in June for a long time. So the whole thing's been pushed back about a month because Oaklawn runs longer than it used to. And that affected how many horses would be at Prairie Meadows in April. So they had to push it back. So that's probably the reason.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. That's probably one of the big reasons for sure. Hoping, this comment says, hoping Minnie's ready ends the night. This is Saturday night with a win for KVH. Minnie's ready in an allowance race. So if you're becoming a KVH fan, and I hope all of you are because we talk about him all the time, he has, let's see, let me get the right count here. He's got 6 horses running Friday and Saturday. He's got 2 on Friday and then 4 on Saturday. Minnie's Ready's in the 10th race. It is an allowance. I hope the horse runs pretty well. I don't think the horse, I think she's got a shot, so been running ran pretty well last year, I should say. Long break. We'll see if this horse is ready to run on the layoff. I think, let's let KVH's stats. Similar layoffs to this, 19% win and 50% on the board. So it shows you can get them ready off layoffs. So the 6 in the 10th race on Saturday, also one of Kelly's horses. And then others that he has in the 11th race on Friday, he has Ray's Big Dream. And then also the 5th race on Saturday, he has Olivia's Hope. To be completely honest, I don't know much about the one on Saturday. Let me look that one up real quick. I don't think I've pet the one on Saturday. Okay, that's a 2-year-old. Olivia's Hope. I can't remember petting that one in the barn. I'm not sure. I do know who Minnie's Ready is. I pet that one. Ray's Big Dream. I've pet that one. So not sure on Olivia's Hope. I'll meet her this time around. So anyway, how did you meet KVH? Well, this is a really good story.
You met junior KVH first, right?
Yes. So the first person we ever met in racing was a guy named Jeremy Stone. And he's a local at Hot Springs, and he owned a horse with Donnie K. Von Hemel, who's Kelly's brother. And he said, "Hey, I know a kid, and his name's Kelby. He's a horseshoer. He's brand new. I think Kelby was still an apprentice at the time." And he said, "You guys should do like an interview with him and kind of show people what it's like to shoe a horse." It's like, "Oh, that's really cool." He's like, "You might become like friends with him because he's a younger kid." It's like, "Great, that's awesome." So Kelby Von Hemel was who he was talking about. That's Kelly's son. And we contacted Kelby on Twitter and said, "Hey, we'd love to do an article about you." And he goes, hey, thanks for reaching out. I think you got the wrong guy. You probably want my dad. And I said, no, believe it or not, we're going to do it on horseshoeing. So the first ever like video in Racing Dudes history, interview in Racing Dudes history was actually Kelby. And Kelby wasn't even old enough to drink when we met him. I think he was 20. So we had only had to side up about 2 or 3 months when we met Kelby. And then, of course, you hang out with Kelby, you do meet his family, and it went on from there. So it was pretty awesome. And yeah, very, very nice people.
Well, so, I mean, you've got to give them a ton of credit for your website because that was your start. And then Kelly's introduced you to a lot of stuff, and then you guys did the rest. But those guys really helped get you going.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Jared and I knew how to handicap, and we knew about the tracks, and we knew the horses, but we really needed help with what goes on day-to-day basis on the backstretch. And Kelly is a veteran, and of course his father just retired, Don Von Hemel, an absolute legend.
Yep. And Donnie K is too.
And Donnie K, who's been very nice to us as well. I mean, we didn't get to know him because we knew Kelby so well, and so we always hung out with the KVH and not Donnie's side, but Donnie's been nothing but nice to us too. But we were clueless about a lot of stuff, and those guys could have easily said to hell with these guys and just kind of blew us off. A lot of people would have. They absolutely did not. I've asked Kelly every dumb question you could ask, and Kelby the same. And they've just been great to us always.
They're just good people, like Dennis said. They are. A buddy of mine goes to Prairie a lot and always tries to track down Kelly because Kelly will talk whatever you want to talk with him if he has the time to do it. And most of these guys are like that. There are some that aren't, but he's very unassuming. He just does his job.
Yep. And as we kind of grew, I was in a better position to have horses, and I've had now 4. Husker Butch is the 4th with him. Add a Kid, standalone Dennis were the first 2, then Double Numbers and Husker Butch. And I kind of went through a gap of about 3 years where I didn't have one with them. And I kind of told him last time, it's like, yeah, I'll probably always try to get one a year with you guys at least, because it's awesome. And you never have to worry about the horse not being taken care of or this or that, or, they're in good hands. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty darn cool. I would not own a horse and have it with any other trainer. Let's put it that way. Anyway, yeah, that's how we met him. And, like I said, really good people. Credit Jeremy Stone, basically.
Yeah.
I did have a horse named Standalone Dennis. I think that was 18. We had him, and he won twice for us. Yeah. He was a lot like you, Dennis. A lot of talent.
He stands alone too.
Stands alone. But
himself.
We couldn't get him to do a whole lot. He always Kelly would tell he's like, he's got some talent, but it's hard to get it out of him. So,
that's what Dennis's father's always said.
But anyway, that is
what his teachers in high school said. His kid's got talents, can't get it out of him. You won't stay away from the racetrack.
I'll never forget it. It was such a surreal moment when 8 Life Grand came up to the Travers because, for years, late at night, Kelby and I are out and we're like, your dad, he's going to get a horse to the Travers this year, and we're going to have a hell of a time. And then it happened. And I remember seeing him and we both kind of looked at each other like, I can't believe we're here together. Like, this is nuts. And I remember Kelly came up to watch the horse train, obviously 2 or 3 times. And the first time he came up, I met him over at the paddock barn. And it was the same kind of look. It's like, it's so good to see you. I can't believe I'm seeing you here. Yeah. So it was great. And hopefully he can do that again because that was amazing. So anyway, any final thoughts before we get off here?
I got something I was going to mention today. Magic kind of reminded me of it on Daily Show. How long do you think it's going to, this is baseball. How long do you think it's going to be? Baseball is so trendy, all sports are. How long do you think it's going to be till we're going to have a manager who decides the hell with taking my pitcher out after 6 innings, starts leaving him in there, they start winning games. And that's going to do away with this bullshit we're watching now. It's going to happen. There's going to be a manager that's going to come along and say, screw the pitch count. The guy is pitching fantastic. I'm not taking him out after a certain number of pitches. I'm going to leave him in there till he gets in trouble and then take him out. It's going to happen.
I think that is an interesting concept that could definitely happen. Yeah.
There's too many games being lost by bullpens.
I think the problem is with all the research on arms, they're terrified because if they get hurt,
but they get hurt anyway, and that's the deal. That's what's going to come. That's going to be the argument that's going to start coming along.
You see a lot of injuries as well.
Yeah.
I agree. Another thing, and you know, Kevin was your brother, my uncle Kevin, was talking to me yesterday. He was complaining about the Cardinals because they blew that game. He goes, when is a manager going to leave a guy in for the 9th inning who mows a team down in the 8th inning?
Absolutely. That's
when are we going to do? Like, it's great to have a closer for sure. However, if you've got a guy that goes out there and blazes them in the 8th, leave him in for the 9th. And I think that's more likely to happen one day than the other.
When he and I were growing up, your closer would come in the 7th inning sometime. Yeah. And they would just finish the last 3 innings. Mm-hmm. It's unheard of today. Mm-hmm. I think only pitch an inning. Mm-hmm. And they and you know, and they would pitch every day. Now they wouldn't go 3 innings every day, but they would. It was not unusual to come in the 8th with a 2-1 lead.
Yeah,
that is another good point because you're not just messing with a closer when you're taking these pitchers out after 6 innings. You're talking about 2 or 3 guys that got to come in and hold the lead. Mm-hmm. There's not. I mean, I just couldn't trust 3 of them. I just couldn't do it. I mean, there's too much can go wrong. But anyway, I think it'll what goes around comes around, and I think it's not going to be long before there's some changes made.
Yeah, so. And you're right. You keep seeing this a lot, especially when you're betting it. It's like, gosh, guy just blaze the 8th, and then the 9th. Yeah. Even when they don't blow it, it's like they give up a hit, and it's like, oh,
I know.
It's stressful.
Yeah, you know, and I'm sitting there, I'm watching games, and it's 3-1 after 6, and my team's ahead, and I'm thinking, well, the game's just beginning. We played 6 innings, but they ain't done nothing yet because the bullpen's going to have to come in and hold this lead, and that's not easy to do. Nope. But anyway, a couple quick questions.
Go ahead. Russ says this time next week we'll be talking about Saratoga.
All right.
That is very.
So that does start next week. That's right. We're all time is just getting by. I mean, we're already into July.
Yes, we're deep into July now. 6 days.
I know. It's just amazing how fast it goes.
Yeah.
You're a man of many talents. What's your most useless talent?
I have a lot of useless sports knowledge that is completely useless.
Pretty useless.
And I get told that a lot, actually. A lot of my friends, when they have like a random question, well, it could be horse racing related to sports or horse racing, kind of one and the same. I usually know the answer. You know, like Doc texted me the other day. He's like, "Why is Gulfstream running today?" And it was the end of June. I said, "Well, it's the end of the fiscal year for the state, so they make them run. They make them pay everything out. There's no carryovers. Just useless shit like that." Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty useless.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a very good speller.
Yeah, you are.
Kind of useless. Really, I mean, it's good that you can spell, but I know a lot of people that are a lot more famous than I that can't spell a word.
Well, that's true. It doesn't really matter, but it still could be useful.
I mean, if I'm writing a letter, I've got the we should don't write a letter anymore. If I'm typing out something, an email, I know how to spell it. So,
sports video games, I'm good at those. Yep.
No, I came from the generation before that. I'm not good at sports video games at all. Really bad. Really, really bad. Here's a good one. What's the most ridiculous lie someone has told you to your face? You know it's a lie, and they know it's a lie, but they told you anyway.
This has got to be. There's so many.
But think
horse
back
racing.
to when you and I when we were working at the store. That's
Well,
why I heard so many. But you probably have more than that. So
there's too many. I mean, there's so many lies that I've been told. When you work in horse racing, you get told 100 a
yeah.
day. It seems like, and then when you work with the public at a sporting goods store where parents are coming in talking about their kids, yeah, there's 100.
Well, yeah, I had a guy come in one time, and I was coaching at Aurora when he went through high school, and come in and told me that he was the quarterback on high school team,
Yeah,
and he didn't even play football
right. Yeah,
because I knew him, had him in school, had him in class. I knew it, and he's sitting right there lying to my face. He was the quarterback, and I'm sitting there. I didn't want to argue. I said, oh, really? Huh. I guess that slipped my mind or something like that, and well, I got hurt. And, so.
Well, a lot of racetrack lies for sure. There would always be people's, their kid like, oh yeah, such and such school is coming to look at, little Bobby today.
Oh, yeah.
In the basketball game. You're like, really? I hadn't heard of him. Where does he play? Oh, the town right over next to us. I still don't know who that is, and like you go look him up. He's got like 2 points a game or something. It's like, I don't think Connecticut's coming to see him tonight.
Well, the dumbest thing I was ever told, you may have been there this day, and a good guy comes in, and his kids are 4. They're 4 years old,
Yeah.
and they're playing basketball, which in itself is so stupid to even begin to fathom. 4-year-olds trying to play basketball.
Yeah.
And some of them are still peeing the bed, and you got them out there trying to teach them this intricate game. Well, anyway, they'd had a game that day, and they won 4-2. And he comes in and he goes, tell you what I like about him. I said, what would that be? Well, they play so well together. And it was all I could do. I wanted to just say, are you kidding me? They're 4.
The problem was we needed their money.
Yeah, so you have to go, oh, really? Well, I'm looking forward to seeing one of those 4-year-old basketball games that ended up 4-2.
You go, yeah, they probably need better uniforms since they play.
Just think how good they could play with the right equipment.
We can sell that to you. Yeah. Oh, I know. That's definitely for sure.
Some people can be so stupid. Anyway, I thought that was good. Okay, I don't think you are, but you might be. I didn't know you were afraid of heights till the other day. Are you claustrophobic?
No, not really.
Me neither.
Mm-mm.
I've been on an elevator where, you're armpit to armpit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I like it. I wouldn't want to, if it stopped, it might bother me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not like can't breathe because I'm going out of here.
I mean, I don't want to be there for hours, but no I'm not.
I'm not either.
No, that's not too scary for me. No.
All right. Now here is a big time one here. This is really good.
Okay.
Which you don't have a thought of it, but anyway. How do you want to die?
Oh, good God.
I mean, if you have your choice, maybe I should say, how do you not want?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think everybody would just say like in their sleep or whatever, Yeah. I think that would be it. Yeah. No, I guess that's, hopefully get old, not too old where I don't know where I'm at and just die.
What's the worst? What would be the worst way to go in your opinion?
It has to be cancer.
It's got to be.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It just has to.
Yeah. There's other diseases as well. Magic says drowning. Drowning would be the worst. I think I would agree.
Yeah, drowning would be. That would be. Yeah. God, can you just imagine? Can you just imagine how that feeling you would have when you can't make it any longer?
Yeah.
And you're just exhausted and you've swam as far as you can.
Yeah.
And you just have to let yourself go.
Yeah. I think mentally that would be extremely tough.
Or you're on a sinking ship or something, and
Yep.
Yeah, I never thought that would be pretty bad.
Drowning would suck, but it would be over fairly quickly. That's the
Alzheimer's is terrible,
yeah.
but I don't think you feel much pain until the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard on your loved ones, of course, but
Right. Yeah.
Personally-
Burned would be same thing, same kind of thing.
ooh, that would
Drowned,
oh,
yeah, that would be awful.
that would be very, very
But
painful.
again, it's quick, but it's like if you're burned alive, this is a terrible subject. If you're burned alive or if you're drowning, you probably could have done something to prevent it. Maybe not, but maybe so as well. You're out doing something maybe stupid. You would have that thought of, oh my gosh, how did I get here?
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah, it would be so nice if they could come up with some kind of halfway decent cure for cancer. Man, that would make life so much easier.
That's why I'm friends with Dr. Tang.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
Look.
Well,
if we're going to play Truth or Dare, you get one.
Shoddy had one before we ever started. Wanted to know if we had ever eaten food somewhere that was awful, but you said it tasted good. And the answer's definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you do that.
You don't want to make the host mad.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, or your wife or whoever cooked it.
Yeah, for sure.
With all that trouble.
For sure.
I've been in places where I've forced myself to eat something just to.
Yeah.
I didn't get seconds.
No, but I think we've all done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to be nice. Yeah.
Kevin, that's good too. I'm like that myself. I've been in restaurants before where the food's not very good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't gripe about it that often, unless it's not cooked the way it was supposed to or something to that effect.
Yeah, be nice to the people.
It's not the waitress's fault.
No. No.
And,
they don't want to be there. They're trying to do, I mean, I've had some bad waitresses and I don't. Yeah. Maybe you don't tip them as much as you would have, but what are you gonna do? You yell at people? Come on.
I don't like to go into a restaurant and complain. I'm kind of I ran a store for 17 years. I don't gripe hardly anywhere. Store, whatever. I don't too much. I mean,
here's the deal. If you tell like the owner of the place, okay.
Yeah.
Probably it probably won't do anything, but it might help. You tell the waitress, it's just the reason why I don't do it. I wouldn't anyway, but the reason why I don't, it's like, what is it going to help? What is it going to solve? Right?
Yeah.
They're probably just going to get mad or they're going to feel bad, but they can't do anything about it. They're just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't complain that much. I just don't go back to the restaurant again. That's what you do. You just don't go back.
Well, yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes I'll go in and order something I never ordered before. Don't really know what it is. And if I get it and it doesn't taste good, that's my fault.
Well, yeah.
I didn't know what it was, and I shouldn't have ordered it.
See, what's the worst secondhand embarrassment you've gotten from a friend or family member that basically that complains at a restaurant or whatever? I don't even remember who the guy was. I can't remember his name, but he used to hang out with our group sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, he was a big guy. And he was a prick. Anyway, we went out once and he literally harassed the waitress for the whole time.
Yeah.
And the whole freaking table was so embarrassed. And it's the worst feeling. The worst. Yeah.
They'll usually be, because I hang out with coaches and teachers, and one of us will step up and say, "Shut your damn mouth."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been with a guy, one of Heather's coworkers, actually. We lived in Amarillo, Texas for 6 weeks. We went down there. They were opening up a new territory, right? And another guy that worked for them was down there, and he's the most like just like this mild-mannered guy, but he got real drunk before he went out, and I know what Michael's saying. It was awful. It was like,
Really?
we got to get him out of here. It's the worst. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen him act like that ever again. So it was crazy.
Yeah.
God, I wish I could think of that.
I don't go out much. So,
yeah. All right. Anyway, anything else?
no,
Okay. We're good.
I think we're done.
All right. Well, Kevin asks, is Blinkers Off covering Belmont? I would guess yes. I don't think there's any doubt we'll be doing Belmont. I can't give you a time because I don't know a time. At this point, I'm going to guess after the Magic Mike show. Not sure how long, but oh God, the Dane Kabisky story. No.
He's been promising this, and
Dane would be one. No, I'm not going to even say that. But Magic Mike's coming up in about 2.5 hours. It'll come at 4 p.m. Central Time.
Don't forget the guide coming out too.
Well, I don't want to promote that. I still am skeptical that might happen. I don't have.
Oh, well, I'm supposed to get to work on it. So,
well, you might do
better.
it. I still don't have a template. I don't have anything. So I don't know about that either. So I don't want to promote that. I don't want to tell you when Blinkers Off is because I don't know. But you do have Magic Mike coming on, the reliable, at 4 p.m. Central. And like I said, we will be doing Belmont, I guess, on Blinkers Off. So you got that to look forward to. If you're in Iowa, like I said, come on in and let me know, and we'll talk, we'll laugh, we'll have a drink. It'll be fun, I promise. All right, guys. Dane Kabisky story. Well, I met Dane Kabisky once, and that's all you're getting for today. Tune in next week for more of the.
You met him twice, first and last.
Hawks all day. You'll be there. Come by and say hi. Come by and say hi.
Yeah, that's right.
You sound like you know a lot about KVH. We might be in the same circles, so shouldn't be a problem. Dane Kabisky, met him once at Martini's at Oakland or at Hot Springs. Yep, that's it. That's all you're getting.
We'll save that for next week.
Is he still training? Does anybody know? I haven't seen his name in a while. Kabisky. Hold on. Dane retired last year, Magic says. Well, I could probably tell the story. It wouldn't hurt his business. It's probably a good thing Dane is retired from horse racing. Yeah, put it that way. All right. Maybe next week. We're out of time. Folks. See you next week.
This is Due to Bet Sports. Due to Bet Sports, it's your favorite show. Due to Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Due to Bet Sports, time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full of shit.